Now we will discuss the intersection of CEQA and infrastructure. The question of whether CEQA should be relaxed when it comes to building roads, bridges, pipelines, and other infrastructure California needs for the 21st century is complicated. While certain green projects, like Green Pass and rooftop solar, could be exempted, most large-scale infrastructure should undergo environmental review to ensure its impacts are mitigated. We can construct needed infrastructure and protect the environment. Before CEQA, large projects, dams, freeways, port improvements, rail yards were designed without any regard for the environment or affected communities. Freeways bisected towns, damaging public health and changing community character forever. Enormous rail yards could spew pollution near homes and schools. Rivers could be altered and dams constructed with no measures to protect rare habitat and no mitigation for devastating impacts on Native American cultural resources. Lead agencies must now disclose and mitigate the impacts of infrastructure projects on public health and the environment. For example, the Cypress Freeway in West Oakland was constructed long before CEQA was adopted. This elevated freeway was built on soil subject to liquefaction, and it bisected a low-income community. After the freeway collapsed in the 1989 earthquake, its reconstruction went through the CEQA process. As a result, the freeway was relocated away from neighborhoods to protect residents from air pollution, and it was built at ground level to prevent future collapse. Similarly, the Regional Transportation Plan, or Sustainable Community Strategy, adopted in 2011 by SANDAG, the San Diego Association of Governments, front-loaded freeway expansions at the expense of public transportation, and it lacked effective mitigation for impacts on public health. A successful CEQA suit by environmental groups and the Attorney General addressed the issue. The court did not invalidate the plan, but required SANDAG to properly mitigate its environmental and public health impacts. Over the years, the legislature has exempted or allowed ministerial approval of some types of green infrastructure. These projects were carefully selected, and exemptions were designed to avoid harm to communities and the environment. Some important exemptions include rooftop solar on existing buildings and parking lots and high-speed rail crossings. Here's a list of additional exemptions adopted over the years to support green infrastructure, such as certain broadband projects, bus rapid transit, and bike lanes. Just last year, the legislature amended CEQA to expedite litigation challenging a number of green infrastructure projects. You can see that the exemptions were carefully crafted. For example, for transportation projects, projects found to be exempt from CEQA must promote compact infill development, not impact disadvantaged communities, and not increase car travel. In each of these streamlining or exemption bills, the legislature moved cautiously as it relaxed CEQA requirements. It received public input on these bills and made sure the changes to CEQA, 1. Applied only to critical green projects, 2. Were necessary for the project's implementation, and 3. Were crafted to minimize harm to communities and the environment to the extent feasible. Any future CEQA exemptions must continue to be carefully and thoughtfully crafted. Thank you for your time today. If you have any questions about this presentation, please contact one of the 4 people listed here. This presentation was brought by the organizations shown on this slide. These groups are all supporters of CEQA Works, a coalition of more than 200 environmental justice and conservation organizations dedicated to protecting and preserving CEQA.